Charlie, the room is a mixture of our clients in our mentorship program and some of their teams. So it's a very intimate room today. Like there's nobody here that is like complete like stranger to what we're about and what we do. Ardy is obviously a guest as well. He's going to be on after you. But super grateful to have you here and to be doing this and hanging out with the guys. And there's a lot of people in the room who can extract a lot of awesome lessons from your journey, what you've done so far, where you're going next with everything. Bit of background. Charlie was actually pretty much my first mentor or coach. Remember you did the mentorship program?
I did, yeah. Me and Lee were talking about that a minute ago.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think when I reflect upon my journey, you were one of the people who gave me that belief to kind of go after it. I didn't know what a quantum leap was until Charlie made me aware of what a quantum leap was. He was talking about, man, you're about to do like a quantum leap at one of these times.
I was right.
Yeah. So Charlie helped us with not only setting up Area Academy at the time, 101, but all of the lessons that I learned from that mentorship program still come through today. And if anybody has followed his journey, you'll know that there's quite a lot of achievement in it. He's a family man. And the way I look at it is Charlie was one of the first people to like think about the digital first future. And now that's a big theme, right? Like in the first session this morning, we spoke about the digital first future and creating a world of your own and personal brand and all of the different kind of topics that we think are going to be important for barbers and people moving forward. So it's an honor to have you here.
Yeah, no, it's an honor to be here. And hopefully the conversation that we all have, we'll be able to, you'll be able to take some things out of it, whether it's a little bit of inspiration or you can relate to it or something that maybe you want to try and do in the future. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good in-depth conversation. The last one we had, what was last year?
About this time last year.
Maybe a bit longer than that now. Yeah, about that, yeah. We did a podcast, didn't we, in the studio that I was in?
Yeah.
And it was, we had to just cut it short because we could have carried on going for a lot more, right? So this is kind of like a part 2, right?
Follow up. Yeah. Has anyone listened to that before? Has anyone listened to it? Pat, Ardy? Yeah, awesome.
Before we dig into anything else, I just want to piggyback off the back of what you were saying. So I did Owen and I both did a discovery call with Charlie, and I just didn't do the mentorship program because I got Owen secondhand smoke. So
yeah,
sorry, mate.
I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, I knew it. We're basically in the same room all the time, you know. Just jumping on this call with Charlie.
I saw Lee in the corner of the screen when we were doing our Zoom calls. Like, listening in.
Just write everything down. Yeah, we'll take that. Yeah. But what the quantum leap thing, brilliant topic to begin on, because I've been hanging around Owen, right, who I say in our coaching group, and I used to say in our classes as well, like if you want to hang around anyone who has broken all the status quo, hang around this guy. Like he did so much in such a short space of time, which took me a long time to realize because I've been doing hair basically twice as long or more. But Charlie came in and really compounded that one down, because I remember you were going through like the fit call questions, and one of them was like, what's your goal? And I was like, within the next year or two, I want to be off the salon floor. And you just went, nah, let's do that in like a couple months. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds cool, like quantum leap thinking. And that was like a beautiful time. And we had that chat outside. I think you were so early to that world, that coaching world. And even just that frame of thinking in the hair world, you were so early to the piece. But for curious, and like I said earlier, for curious enough people, that's monumental stuff to hear. So I just want to thank you for that, because that changed the way I thought about, again, the speed in which things can be done in the digital space. So that was such a great time.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, and look, there's a lesson in that too. Like, jump on the calls with people, have these conversations with people. Like, you never know. There's a nugget in there, and that changed the trajectory of the next 5 years of my career. So, yeah, it was powerful.
And like I said, just so these guys could hear it, because we were having quite a good conversation out there, but sometimes being too early isn't always the best thing either, if it's not followed up in the right way. Yep. So I was probably one of the first, from my awareness of kind of like stepping into that coaching world, bringing it into the hair industry, I guess, which was, 5 years ago? Was it 5 years ago?
It would have been COVID times. Yeah.
Lockdown times.
5 years ago, yeah, so quite a while ago now. And I was heavily inspired by what my partner was doing with some coaching stuff, which is similar to, I think, is it Hannah, back then as well. All the manifestation stuff. And then she was like, why don't you do something like this, but put it into the hair industry and bring it into your education? And I was like, yeah, do you know what? Let's give it a go, kind of thing. Studied some courses, learned how to put it together, and then built this online mentorship program and launched it during the COVID year. And it was a huge success, to be honest with you. We had 10 people enroll onto it within a week at quite a high price ticket. It was like the most amount of money I ever made in a week, most certainly. I was like, wow, maybe there's something here, I had the course, had the value, I had the experience in some sense, but also in some sense I had no idea what I was doing at the same time. But these guys didn't know that, you know what I mean? Because I'd never run a mentorship program before, and that whole coaching thing and that was completely new to me. But I think just having that like confidence in going to jump and just going to do something new, you have to at least pretend that you know what you're doing, because most of the time when you see people out there in the world that look like they know what they're doing, they actually don't have a clue, and they're just good at making themselves look like they do. That's the reality. So it's the perception that you give off. But yeah, it was super good, it was super successful, and I think I really had a decision to make after we did the first mentorship, which was 3 months, I think it was. We did it out roughly, or was it 6 months? I can't remember what it was.
I think it was 3.
3 months, yeah. Okay, it was a 3-month period where I was like actively with you all the time and whatnot. And then I had a couple of people said to me like that weren't on the first enrollment and were like, are you doing it again? Like I want to jump on your next mentorship thing already. So I had people already lining up to me, and I don't know, something just wasn't there for me that made me want to do a whole nother 3-month enrollment, because the online academy had just started really kicking off, and I felt like I wanted to put my attention on that at that moment in time. So I made a decision not to do another mentorship program and leave the kind of coaching stuff there to the side, and then focus on the online academy, where in the future I actually launched a soft version of it where it's just an automated version that you can do on your own without the mentorship from me. So the course material was there, so I've just monetized it and people still buy it off the website for them to do, and it's like, a tenth of the price, because they're not getting my input into it, they're just getting the teachings. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think about that often, because I know that was the only time that you did it with the input. And the lesson that I've tried to share off the back of that is that, like, when you have an opportunity to do something, you should probably do it, because like there's a lot of things that we don't even do anymore. Another conversation we were having outside was about not cutting hair, right? So like Charlie said, he's not cutting hair as much anymore, even in teaching. And it's the same thing for us. It's like last year we did the last round of our 3-day courses. We said we're not going to do the 3-day course again. I think people thought we were joking, and then now we're not doing it anymore. So it's like, even moments in time like this, like a session like today, being here, showing up, it's awesome. You never know what one piece of information can lead to. And I'm very happy that I did it. I often kind of reference it and think that was the catalyst for me to create something beyond just cutting hair, behind the chair. I have to go all in. And that's probably one of the times that I spent the most money as well. So like you would have made the most money, but that at that time, for that week, it was the most I had spent in a week as well. You know? So it's like, oh, okay, well, this is my ticket now. This is my investment. This is my skin in the game. As to like, do I actually want to take this seriously or not? And yeah, took it pretty seriously. Because here we are 5 years later, and you know, I always enjoyed the kind of coaching element of things, and it's amazing what, like, you know, it's your partner's Tori, yeah? Is it? Yeah.
Tori, yeah.
It's Tori and Hannah, and like how Hannah kind of inspired me with the coaching aspect of things as well, because that's what she was into, and it's funny how the paths cross over.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's your partner is really important to you in life, isn't it? You know, it's not just about potentially having a family or something like that with them. It's about like day to day, you know, how are they inspiring you, how are they motivating you? And to be honest with you, Tori, my partner, she's the brains behind a lot of new ideas I've had in the industry. It's honestly crazy. She gives me the idea and then I put it into action. And no one would ever know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Same for Hannah, really. Yeah. But I also give her a lot of ideas for her thing too, so it's awesome.
Both ways.
Yeah, totally. So going back to like the digital age piece,
Yeah.
I remember we met in Australia in, I don't know, was it 2017, 2018, and you were already building Hair in Motion.
Was I?
I feel like, I remember we had a conversation one night, you probably don't remember it.
When I was still at my previous company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was just before I left
Just
my
before
previous
you
company,
came
so that would have been in motion at that time.
18 or 19 or something like that.
It was 19. It was 2019. I was last there teaching hair.
Yeah, and that would have been before the pandemic, before COVID, before online education was really a thing.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
The online education.
Where did the idea come from? Or?
I don't know. I guess I've always been one to look outside the box. I'm quite an obsessive person when I want to do something or achieve something. I think you have to be to stand out from the crowd. And actually, at least 6 months to a year before the time we're talking now, just before I left my previous company to start Hair in Motion, I was pushing for online education. Like a long time before Hair in Motion came about, I was pushing for it. I'd heard about it in other industries. I knew it was something to look at. I knew the potential of it and the power of it. And I was pushing to do it for my previous company, and it didn't materialize because, for whatever reason, you know, I didn't have the power, the money, the finances to do it in place. And then when I launched my own company, Hair in Motion, it was quite a strange time, to be honest with you, because I actually launched my company, officially left my old company, launched Hair in Motion in March 2020, which was like the month that, you know, shit came down, right, on the world, and everyone had to shut up shop and people stopped working, and, you know, we all remember what happened. But I had just launched my company like 3 weeks before any of that came around. I had like 6 months of work booked out, traveling all over the world, all this money coming in. I was like, sweet, this is like the best decision I've ever made. Like, I'm going to make all of this. I'm going to go here. This was the right decision for me. I knew it was. And then that happened, and everything got shut down. So I was like, what am I going to do? Kind of thing. You know, I was like, what can I do in this situation? You know, I wasn't working in a shop because I was full-time educating for my previous company. I just left that company. I actually had my first baby, my first child on the way in 2 months' time from that. And technically I didn't really have any money coming in at that point. So it was a bit of like an uncertain time, to be honest with you, a bit of panic for at least a couple of days. I just put a deposit down on a lease in a studio in Hackney in East London as well, where I was going to start doing some education and whatever else I wanted to do there. So I had a space that I could work from. And I just thought to myself, right, like, what am I going to do here? I need to pivot. I have lots of responsibility now. I need to make this happen. No one else is coming to save me. No one else is coming to back me up here. So let's build an online academy. So literally I locked myself in my studio when COVID first came around, when all the work got cancelled, ordered a load of mannequin heads, and pretty much taught myself how to film myself from a professional camera, cut hair at the same time, compile that all together, edit all the content, put it into a course, build the website, and build it all out. So I actually did all of that myself during a 3-month period. Built a website, built a platform in the website, built all the subscription service on like a really basic Wix website. I don't know if anyone was ever a subscriber for that first ever online platform. Did you guys ever?
Yeah,
did you? Yeah. Like, yeah, were you there? Yeah, sweet. Okay, yeah, like it was like pretty basic, compared to what it is now, but I was proud of myself, which was the main thing. I did it all myself. I didn't have to outsource. I mean, obviously, if I had some money or something to put into that, I probably would have maybe had some help, but I didn't at that time. But yeah, within a 3-month period, I launched the first ever online academy from Hair and Motion that it was back then, on a really basic Wix website that I put together myself in June 2020, 3 months later, and I just knew that it was the right thing to do. And to be honest with you, I was majorly disappointed with the amount of signups that I got, because I had a pretty decent following, over the 100,000 mark on Instagram, and a lot of people were watching what I was doing, and I was like, surely, like, I can get 1,000 people to sign up, like, from that, from my audience, and it doesn't work like that. Like, converting people that just follow you into paying customers, especially on an academy, it's not as easy as you think, So yeah, it took me a good 2+ years to get over the 1,000 mark. Like, it's crazy. So it was like a completely new area of business that I had no experience in at all, because it's completely separate to like doing in-person education or teaching, running an online business. It's like separate but under the same umbrella, and because of zero experience in that, I started to realize very quickly how like it's hard to convert people to buying a digital product rather than a physical one, especially in an industry where all we're used to is physical. In terms of like, before the online academy stuff came through, any bit of education you'd ever do was always in person. Like, online education was a very new thing. Yeah. So yeah, it was an interesting time.
Yeah, man. I speak to a few people and I've heard very similar things. Ours is the same. Like, we don't have as many people on the hair index as like people would think. Like, that subscription is almost harder for us to sell than the more expensive stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's weird how it works. We actually, another guy who coached me at one point had the same thing happen with him. Like, the guy we were telling you about earlier, who had like 5,000 followers when we first met him. One of his posts blew up overnight. It went to like 250k followers or something. He had 4,000 signups. So he started this new course, and then on launch day, nobody bought it. And he was just thinking, he had something in his calendar written down, like $100,000 day or something, because he thought, well, surely, like, surely, like, given these numbers and these stats, people are going to buy it. And I actually spoke to a couple of guys who are about to launch an online platform recently. And they're hedging all of their bets on that right now. And like, from experience, like, they were asking, should I put like a mentorship component into it from the beginning, because we want to go there anyway. And I was like, so how much do you want to make from the online platform? And they're like, I don't know, 5 to 10k a month. And I was like, all right, just get 5 or 10 people paying you $1,000 a month or £1,000 a month, rather than 250 or whatever it was through the platform. So to get 10 is easier than 250. Yeah. And there's your 10k a month, and then everything else is a bonus on top of that. That's at least your bills kind of covered. But yeah, I saw a post on Founder or one of those things. It's like, nobody prepares you for when the launch doesn't work or it doesn't happen. And it's like, that's not the time to give up. I think the cool thing there is like, you believe in your products, you keep going. You say, oh shit, okay, well, nobody bought it. Because I think a lot of people here, there will be people here who want to get into education or coaching or mentorship at some point. Just because it doesn't work on the launch day doesn't mean it's not going to work. And I think the the way to go about it nowadays is different. It's the conversations, what happens behind the curtain, like I was talking about earlier, especially for selling higher ticket stuff. Like Harry wants to train people how to do hair systems, and it's like people will pay more than like an online subscription price for that, you know. Yeah.
So something we speak about a lot is we have this thing called the cost of transition. And anything we do in life, when we change, there's a cost to that transition. Money, time, whatever that might be. And so one of those things, I think, and this is a great insight for you guys, if you're thinking about doing hair education or something like that, is there's also a cost to transition when it comes to your audience as well and their perception of you. So I love where you were going with that, Charlie. I think some people think just because they're seen as good at cutting hair, they think everyone's going to buy their education, right? Which is the start. It's a great start, right? You've got to be known as the subject matter expert for something. But always remember that your audience get used to you as a certain person. So even if you're really good at cutting hair, they get used to consuming your content as the person who's really good at cutting hair. So that there's like an audience transition, and that is the cost of time. So it can take time to train your audience to perceive you as the hair educator now, even though in your mind, you're like, oh, I'm really great at cutting hair, so you should just buy my education. It's the art of then communicating that, the perception to your audience now that you are now the hair education guy. So, Charlie, was there anything that you kind of learned or any good advice for people around the marketing that had to happen to train your audience to now see you as, hey, I'm now like the online hair education guy?
To be honest with you, I'll start off with the transition from leaving my old company to launching my new one. I generally feel that it was quite an easy transition for me in respect that I was already full-time educating for my previous company. So if you're a full-time hairstylist or barber right now and you want to get into education, it's not something that happens overnight. It's something you have to work towards, something you have to like put your time into. You know, I spent many years working 7 days a week, 5 days a week in the shop, 2 days a week, traveling around the country, first and foremost. I think we came to Gershwin's many years ago. When we first started teaching, me and Josh, long time ago. So I've known Harry for a very long time. You really have to start off small. But for me, I did those years, I put in those years, and I progressed myself as the educator, and people saw me as the educator for many years before I even launched my Hair in Motion. So when Hair in Motion came to being launched, the transition was already there. Like people wanted to already consume education and come on courses with me. It was just a different logo and a different way that we were doing things to how we were doing it before. So in that respect, you know, I don't want to take much credit for like how I got my audience to see me, because my audience already saw me as an educator from previous. You got.
I think in there, maybe if we go a little deeper on then selling the digital stuff, because they knew you. I mean, we all knew you as the great the in-person educator traveling the world on the great stages.
Yeah.
So was there anything you learned in that transition? Because this is the thing, guys. Like even though many hundreds of thousands of people around the world knew Charlie as the educator, right? But then when it came to the digital thing, it was like, why aren't they buying the digital thing? It's because, again, do you see what I mean? The perception was Charlie's the guy that travels around the world and teaches in-person classes. So even the perception of, this digital product. Remember the trust funnel that I took you guys through earlier? Know, like, and trust. They knew him and they liked him, but now there was a new offer and it's like, do I trust him with this new offer? Even though it's just an absolute no-brainer. We all have to take that into consideration. It's like there's a level of trust that we have to build with our audience in every new offer that we put out into the world.
Yeah.
You know, and you're probably seeing that even as your company even evolves now. Every new offer that you build, there's a new level of trust that you got to take your audience to. New level of trust, you know.
Yeah, we definitely pride ourselves as being innovators in the industry. I'm always looking ahead at like what's next. You know, like I feel like we've got the online academy thing pretty locked down with like growth and numbers and whatnot. So last year we actually launched something called a in-person subscription, where we took the inspiration from our online academy, but then what we found over the last few years is that yes, there is lots of online education now, and it's great, and it's very affordable, and blah 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 blah. But what people are missing is the in-person connection with human to human now, because everything is so digital, which is great because of the flexibility and the freedom it can give you and the money you can make from it. But actually, people now are more interested in coming to do in-person classes again because they miss that feeling, because you can't beat that feeling of in-person stuff. So we thought, like, again, this has never been done before in the hair industry. Let's launch in-person subscriptions where people can sign up to our classes in person throughout the year, pay technically a monthly retainer to us, and come to a certain amount of classes and shows and stuff that we put on for a monthly retainer, so they can immerse themselves in in-person education as well as getting that online academy access as well. So again, did it go as successful as we want it to? No, absolutely not. Of course we sold some and people are coming on the courses and stuff, but did it do the numbers that I thought it may do? Absolutely not. And I think that's very important to highlight, because it's very easy for me to talk about the successes, right, and the things that go right, or the things that you see on Instagram, all the great stuff that we do. But I don't think the things that don't go right and the things that go wrong, the things that are hard, are talked about enough by people like myself. So I wanted to be really raw and genuine and honest with you guys today, and talk about the losses, because the losses and the things that don't go right are so important to how you move forward and how you grow as an individual in life in general. It's about how you pivot in life and the things that go wrong. Like when I launched my company and then everything got closed down, I could have easily just have backtracked and been like, can I have my job back? Or just completely collapsed and been like, I don't know what to do. Or lived off the government for 6 months or however long it was. Do you know what I mean? And just thought I'll pick it back up and I can travel again. I thought, no, absolutely not. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to make something happen. I locked myself in the studio for 3 months and built something great, and look where it is now. So I think the power of being able to pivot and see something that isn't right in front of you is very, very important. And again, with the in-person subscriptions, I could have easily just thought, let's just cancel them. It's not going to work. What's the point in doing these? But no, we're going to persist, and we're going to adapt, and we're going to change everything that we do until it becomes the right product and the right thing that people want to consume.
Yeah, we've learned that lesson a lot ourselves too.
Yeah.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I do. Do you have a process for that vision process? Because I agree. I think if anyone is interacted with Charlie's work, it's very future thinking. There's not even the way you're building out the education teams now from what it was to I just think it's genius. Leveraging that is incredible. So yeah, do you have a process for that, how you dream up your new ideas, or is it just part of who you are? Or?
I generally just think it's part of who I am. I can't I don't have a system or something that I follow, or no one's like I said, Tori comes up with some great ideas sometimes, of course. Yeah. Credit's due where credit's due. But I can't say new ideas come from nowhere. I think working around the right people and having the right people in your circle, in your surrounding, whether that's a group like this, or whether that's people in your shop, or whether that's family or friends, or whatever that is, whoever that is for you, I think it's really important to be surrounded by those people. I really have to shout out Jamie, who's with me here today. As you see, she does do all of our content and social media for Hair in Motion, but she's more than that. She does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and she's a really important part of the business. And her brain is, I thought my brain was here and here. Her brain is another dimension of mine. And I'm not sure that's a good thing sometimes, but I have to rein her in sometimes. But she's always thinking of new things to add into the business and how to improve things. So yeah, she's a great asset to have. And I'm sure you bounce off of each other, and there's people that as well that bring ideas into your head, right? So of course, your external surroundings, there are people that implement things or bring ideas up, but then it's not just about the idea, is it? It's about actually implementing the idea, because all of us have great ideas in this room right now, but only some of us will actually follow through with those ideas and make something of it. So that's what I think.
You spoke about the people you're surrounding yourself with are really important.
Yeah.
How do you pick those people?
Good. So I think it depends on where you're at in your journey. I think if you're starting off in the hair industry, if you start kind of right there, right at the start, I think you need to work in a salon or a shop that provides education and is consistently looking to build people up to be better at probably predominantly cutting hair at that moment in their career, where they can learn and absorb off other people. That's certainly what I got to do when I first started cutting hair. Then once you become better, more experienced, and you're a fully booked hairstylist, how do you then leverage that into charging more money for your time, right? And earning as much as you can for working in the shop. And then if you want to become an educator or a teacher and take a step into that route, you need to start working around educators and going to courses and assisting educators and really like immersing yourself in that. Or if you want to work in the fashion side of the world and you want to go and do editorial work or fashion shows, and you have to go and assist for free for a long time and immerse yourself around those people and work hard. Like there's no easy route, it always starts from the ground up. So depending on what you want and where you're at in your career, surround yourself with the people that are already doing what you're doing, because the last thing you want to do is take advice of someone that hasn't done what you want to do. That's the way that I see it.
And in your case, like building Hair in Motion, going from just you building it over 3 months to bringing on a full-time content creator, and I'm assuming there's maybe others as well that are helping you. What things that you look for that have really benefited you and your company, and what things are you looking out for that don't line up with your values?
Yeah, good question. I think when I first launched the company, I actually wanted to spend some time on my own. I'd worked in teams and around people for years, and it was great. It was a great part of my progression and a great part of who I am and why I am in the position I am today, because of the people around me. But I knew that when I launched my company, I wanted to just like have a break from that, and I wanted to focus on me and be a bit selfish in that respect and build a brand that represented me and what I want to do in the future of hair. So that was important for me. And I was in that phase for a good 2 years before I brought anyone else onto the team. So 2 years I was selfish. But I say that in a positive way. I think there are times in your life where you need to be selfish and focus on yourself. And after 2 years, I was like, right, I've got the company to this place. I'm this busy. What do I want to do next, and how am I going to get there? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. And I thought, what am I not enjoying right now? I'm not enjoying running all of these social media accounts. It's very time consuming. I don't enjoy it. I'm running my personal one and my business one, and I don't want to do it anymore. So I thought, right, I want to bring on someone who can run my social media accounts. I already had a team of ambassadors at that point who wanted to be a part of the brand. Jamie was one of those really early ambassadors that I brought on. When I put the job role up for social media, she approached me and says, I want that job, pretty much, in a nutshell. And I thought, oh, I like that confidence. She really wants this job. She loves the brand. She wants to be a part of it. Okay, cool. Let's give her some part-time work. She started working freelance, part-time work, doing a couple of hours a week kind of thing. And it just progressively built up to being full-time, traveling around with me around the world, filming everything that I do, putting it all together, running my social media accounts. And guess what? As soon as I did that, the Hair in Motion account grew from 10K to 40K nearly now in under 2 years, because it's a job that I delegated out to someone else that is much better in it than me and who enjoys it more than me. So that's one example. And what was the rest of the question?
Well, it was just basically...
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah. I go off on tandems a little bit then sometimes, yeah. And then the rest of the team, then I realized like, okay, I'm busy. I'm getting booked out like every other week all over the world. Like, this isn't sustainable, and I'm going to get burnt out, right? And I've been burnt out before for my previous company, and it's not a good place to be in mentally. But it taught me a lot of things at the same time, and I thought I don't want to be in that position again. If I want to make this brand what I envision it to be and where I want to take it to, and I want to compete with the best education companies in the world, then it can't just be me anymore. Reality check. It can't be me anymore. So that was when I decided to start advertising for people to come and work for the company as full-time, as educators.
Is this through the mentorship again?
No.
Okay.
No. This is completely separate. And yeah, we had a couple of amazing people who came through on the first round of educators. I actually hired about 6 or 7 to start off with. And after 6 months, I whittled that down to 3 of them, core team. And within the next 6 months, I had another 3 who actually came to me because of what we were doing I didn't go find them, they came to me because they wanted to be a part of our team and what we were doing. So half the team was sourced through quite a rigorous training program and interview sessions and time spent together and stuff. And then the rest of them were just like, it just felt so natural, like we were attracting the right people towards this brand because the work that we were doing and the message that we were giving off to people, not only through the work that we were doing, but through the way that it was being portrayed through social media and through a screen as well, which was where Jamie comes in to capture what we're doing and how we're doing it and the language that we're using as a brand. And now, we have 6 like unbelievable world-class educators who are traveling all over the world every single week, representing Hair Emotion now. And we're in a good place right now in terms of the team and stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for that.
No worries,
What I heard from that was you spent 2 years being selfish to build or like set parameters of what you want, and now you're paying them.
And you know what, 2 years to a lot of people might seem like a lot of time, but really it goes by in the blink of an eye. If you think 2 years is a long time, then you're wrong. And I think that's a very, very short-sighted view of something. Great things take time to build.
Yeah.
If you want to,
it doesn't matter if it happens fast or slow. It's going to happen
as long as it happens.
Yeah, we have. There's a guy that we follow quite closely. I would put him in the category of a coach because I did a program with him as well. And he said he's got this like solo consultancy style business that he wants to grow to 10 million a year with just him and a VA. That's kind of like his goal because he wants to keep it simple. And he's like, I know I'll get there. I'm just not concerned about when I'll get there because he's earning enough money now. He's doing, I think he's at 3-point-something million already a year. So it's like, at that point, it's like, what much more do you really need? Like, he's not compromising his values or the lifestyle that he wants to live in order to get there. He's just like, I know I'll get there. It's just, I'm not too concerned about when. And it's good to have a timeline in mind, but I think things definitely do take more time than what social media portrays these days. Because even in our journey, like, we're the same. We only hired somebody, about 6 months ago now? First hire. We started working together 5 years ago when this dream kind of started, where we planted the seed. We only hired our first person, and he was somebody who was in our mentorship program. So he knew what we did, what we were about, the values. He knew the program inside out because he did it. I had somebody else reach out to me yesterday saying, would you guys ever hire any extra coaches? And I was like, yeah, but they'd have to have been our clients first. Like, you have to go through the whole program first before. It's a little bit different to the cutting of hair, because with 101 we could have hired people who'd done the 3-day course and that were good at cutting hair because you're teaching a technical skill, right? But like, to coach people on like a psychological level and emotional level, like, the values are really, really important. So that's a question I'd have for you, Charlie, as well, on like lifestyle and what you're not willing to compromise. You have 3 kids. We spoke outside about how you're thinking of, traveling a bit with the kids. When you're coming up with new ideas, building the business, growing the business, I would imagine that the family are very front of mind. But is that where a lot of your decisions will come from? Like a values kind of perspective? Or because there's loads of things you could do, right, to make more money. For example, the mentorship program that you didn't run again, you could have got many more paydays from that. Oh, yeah. But what that speaks to me is that you're putting your values before just going after the cash right now?
Yeah. I mean, I think the best way to put it is that as your life changes, which it does, everyone's life changes from year to year, especially not so much day to day, more so year to year. If you look back at it every year, the person that you were last year and the person you were the year before that, you'd like to see growth in that, whether that's, personally, spiritually, financially, business, fitness, whatever area of your life that you want to see growth. Definitely you want to see progression year upon year for the most part. If you're not seeing growth, then you're probably not focusing your time and attention on the right areas of your life at that moment. And I think what you need to do is realize what it is that you actually want in your life right now, and work towards what that is, rather than focusing on the things that aren't going to get you to that moment in your life. So, for me right now, it's I'm at a really strange, I almost feel like I'm at a bit of a strange crossroads in my life where I'm not sure where I want to be. I understand what my goal is and what my vision is long term, and I'm making my way towards that slowly. But I'm not sure what exactly I want to do right now and where I want to be and where I want to be based and things like that. But my family definitely does play a vital role in my day-to-day activities and where I want to be settled. Does that make sense? Yeah.
On the flip side of that coin, that's like the personal side of growth of the business. On the consumer side of the product, I love this talk about like the growth and the vision and the drive of a company. How much is the consumer behavior on your product important for you when you're thinking about new ideas? Like, does that influence, like, how on the pulse are you with the consumer behavior? Because there's two ways a company can go, isn't there? There's like a company that's really rooted in purpose, which is really trying to drive impact for the consumer, or it's just a complete selfish act of like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want and then, whatever. And that could stunt growth or it could go really well. But like, it feels to me like you pay a lot of attention to the consumer experience with your company.
Yeah, I mean, without the consumer, then your business doesn't mean anything because you can't function because there's no money coming in. So you have to listen to the consumer about what they want, what they need from your product, and why they may even want it, or why it's better than someone else's product. So, we've changed lots of different things and features about our online academy specifically. Things like bringing in a chat community forum built into the app so people could chat around and ask questions and we can directly answer them. Things like that, where there's more of that kind of thing in there. We've changed the price points multiple times on different subscription packages to try and be more attainable and beneficial for different people all over the world. I think it is really important, like even the content that we put up on there now has to be quite specialized and varied because we've got so much content on there now, like we don't want to keep repeating and regurgitating the same haircuts and the same content over and over again. It's just pointless, because people have already seen 10 versions of that skin fade before. So why would we need to put another skin fade on the app now? You know what I mean? So we're more focusing on specialized areas like releasing collections on there, and people can replicate five looks from one collection where they can watch the video, look at the finished result, understand how to create that collection and replicate different looks from the collection. So it's more like we're more focusing on things like that now rather than like individual haircuts. And we're going down that route now to add more value to the app. And even things like we've added like behind the scenes stuff on there. So every like show and thing that we do now, Jamie captures like a vlog technically of the team working and what we do, behind the scenes, so people can understand who we are as a brand. Because I think the real value of investing into a brand is understanding who's behind the brand, and that's what we're really realizing. I think if you look at like really successful new clothing brands, one really sticks out for me because of the way that they show who they are as a brand, the people driving it. And they don't go on social media and sell the brand or sell the product at all. They just show people who they are. And that's Represent Clothing. I'm sure most people have probably heard of them.
Someone wearing it today.
Someone's got one on, don't they?
Yeah, they're a super cool brand. I actually did the hair for their campaign many years ago, where we did. They were releasing a rock collection, all surrounded, all about Oasis and stuff. And we went to Rockfield, which is like a famous musical studio recording where Oasis did their first ever album there, and it's got a lot of history there. And one of the main models was Lennon Gallagher, his son, who I did the hair for and stuff. And it was just really cool. We were like immersed in this experience for like a couple of days with all these people. And yeah, I just loved the brand back then. And like what they've become over the last few years is completely is completely because of the culture that they've built within the brand. It's not even necessarily about the clothes they release. People want to buy their clothes because of the people and the brand. What the brand speaks of is what I'm trying to say. So what we're trying to do at Hair in Motion is almost replicate that, but in terms of a brand within the hair industry, where we want people to immerse themselves and invest into us as who we are as a brand and the people behind it, not just come and learn from us how to cut hair, because that's just the bog standard, isn't it? You know, you could go to anyone to learn to cut hair realistically. There's so many education brands out there. What separates you from them is the culture and the message behind the brand and the language that you're speaking. So that's what we're really focusing on right now.
That's huge. Yeah. And that's the opportunity we all have, right? And but remember earlier today I was drawing parallels between like acquisition, you know, from analog to digital. It's all the same. It's all the same thing. All great companies need people. They need clients and they need teams. But it's the same with great companies and their products as well. So who's one of the best companies to ever do it? Nike. You know, what face did they put next to their shoes? Michael Jordan. You know, it's like, and what does Michael Jordan stand for? You know, he's a workhorse. You know, he's getting it, and it's in the Nike slogan. It's like, just do it. They celebrate the doer, not the winner. You know, and many more people can identify as the doer rather than the winner, because the winner's like, there can only be one winner, but there could be many people that are having a red hot crack. And so that's the kind of words and the message. So all great companies, it's been happening throughout time. It's just now the context and the form of it has changed, and now we all get to do that on an individual basis for free every single day, which is a pretty special time. And I think that's the big theme of what we're trying to get across to our guys lately and everybody in this room is like, that opportunity is just, it's gigantic, isn't it? It's like to be able to portray that to people and not necessarily so much compete on like who's the best anymore, because like it still pays to be really good, but like getting paid to be you and for people to believe in who you are, like that, what a great way to live.
Right. Just touching on the Michael Jordan thing, actually yesterday I was listening to a podcast and someone was talking about what makes people so great, and he was referring to his example was Michael Jordan. Like, what made Michael Jordan so great compared to all the other unbelievable NBA players over the years? Why did he stand out? And he was saying how Michael Jordan used to show up to training and practice first every single day before any of his team and start off with the simple chest passes. As good as he was, as whatever he could do, he'd always start every single day of his training with the most basic, fundamental thing in basketball and go from there and work it up every single day. And it just showed his work ethic, and that's what separated him from everyone else. I thought it was really inspiring that I heard that.
Yeah. That's like a life philosophy right there, isn't it? Even how you run your day.
Yeah.
You know, I recommend like meditation to a lot of people and all those kinds of things, and quiet time in the morning. It's like similar philosophy. Just start with the simple, most human thing first. Bit of quiet, analyze your thoughts, and then build from there. You know, but, yeah, it's really cool. I like that. It's a life philosophy.
We've been speaking to the guys a lot lately. We spoke a lot about it in this morning's session, about the ability to like create our own world now. You know, when you have a brand like Charlie has, which took him time to build, you know, the bones of 10 plus years of probably posting very, very consistently on Instagram and sharing his work and providing the proof, providing the evidence that he is who he says he is. And can get the results. What that results in is the ability to create whatever life you want for yourself down the track. And another coach of ours, Darren, he always says, rough roads end smooth and smooth roads end rough. So if you avoid the hard part, like Charlie said, like it's going to be hard. Regardless what you do, it's going to be hard. Whether you're working in the shop, just doing haircuts, or you're building an education company, or you're coaching, whatever we do, there's going to be hard times. Like, so to do it where you can create your own world at a certain point is probably one of the better hards to choose. And the ability that we have these days to create that is insane. Like when we come into rooms like this, last week in Ireland, we were doing one like this a couple of weeks ago on the Gold Coast, and it's just like, fucking hell, this is mad, isn't it? Like we created this, you know? Like we just made it up in our minds and said, you know what, we were good at this thing, and now we cultivated an audience, and the audience turned into fans of what we do, and now we're able to package things up as a solution, and we can help people to invest in themselves and grow. And now we can just say, all right, who wants to come hang out in Birmingham? And Arlandis comes from Lithuania, and like people are traveling from all over England. It's crazy. It's crazy. So did you ever think, like, so for you, Charlie, like when you first started out, like did you ever think it would land where it has landed now?
I had no idea.
You had no idea?
I had no idea. No, I had no idea where I'd be at this moment in time, of course. When I first started, hair was, I think what's important to focus on is like the next step up from where you are, rather than 10 steps up, because 10 steps up will feel very unattainable at that moment in time and probably put a lot of people off or think, I'm not going to get there, so I'm not going to bother trying. But if you look more, have a long-term vision but short-term goals, you'll really start to focus on, okay, look, this next step up is just here. If I do X, Y, and Z, I'll attain that by this time. When you get there, then you can start to focus on this next step and then this next step. And before you know it, years have gone past and you're up here somewhere, and you're probably not too far away from potentially one time you were down here and you're thinking, I'm never going to get there. Do you understand? Yeah. So don't think that you're going to go from a full-time clientele to a session stylist traveling the world. It's never going to happen. Not anyone's going to do that. Yeah. But what you can do is focus on that next step just above you and get that as quickly as you work for it. So, yeah.
One of the questions I was going to actually ask you about, like your trajectory, like in the sense of when you started it, and obviously you said about overcoming your business, and you obviously thought, I want to get to here. When did you get to the point where you thought, I'll be happy, and then you changed your trajectory to be the next step? What was your like first kind of like goal in the sense of hair emotion or anything I'm leaving your own company?
Yeah, good. It was more of a feeling rather than a thing.
Did you kind of know how it was going to go, or did you kind of think from the launch?
Whenever I launched Hair Emotion, I always had the vision, long-term vision, I still do, of becoming one of the best hair education companies in the world. That doesn't mean the biggest, it just means the best. So whatever that means, to me, may be different to you. You know, everyone has different ideologies of what their best is, of what the best is. You know, you could say Adidas is better than Nike. You know, it's just an opinion, right? So we want to just be globally known as one of the best education companies to go to, whether that's on our online stuff or on our in-person stuff. How am I going to get to that point? That's all the way up here. When I first launched my company, I understood I wanted to be here and what I wanted to achieve, right, with that statement, which is a very big statement to put out there. And we're not there yet, nowhere near there. But what I focused on was, what do I want the company to be like and what do I want the company to represent? So that's why I spent 2 years on my own, because only I knew what that meant. So if I would have got someone else on board straight away, they would straight away in those first couple of years start kind of getting the water a bit cloudy and a bit murky, because the message would start to change already. So I wanted to start getting people involved in my company when I knew it had established itself, what it meant to everyone else that was watching it. And that's why it still is what it is. And no one's changed that. Doesn't matter who's come into the company or who works for us, it's still at its core is what it is when we first launched, in terms of what it means and what it stands for and where it's going. So
I love that analogy of taking the step by step. It's that classic saying. It's a bit cheesy, but like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Yeah. One bite at a time. It's that classic thing, but it's such a powerful saying, because I think back to when I first started in my career, and I'm sure you can, feel into this one, Charlie. But like, I'm sure you were inspired by someone at some point to do what you do. You probably. I sold a great Educator, so I was like, wow, that would be so cool. But the work that we've done and what we do now looks very different to what they were doing at a similar period, and that's why it's so cool. Like, you can be inspired by this person up here, but don't let the bit in the middle be the bit that stops you from moving. Let it be the bit that does make you move, because that one step at a time reveals the next step. And by the time you do get there, it's going to look very different anyway. And I think lean into that, because what we do here today, if any of you starts this journey today and it takes you 5 years to get there, in 5 years, what you're doing will look very different. The core message, like we said, will be the same: to help people impact lives and live a great life ourselves. But what it looks like for you guys could look completely different, and that excites me. That's enough to get me going. I'm like, all right, what's the next step? And be inspired by great people like this.
I think not getting too attached to any mechanism, like we spoke about before. Like Charlie's mentioned outside, that he doesn't do much of the teaching of hair anymore because his role in the company now has changed. And if you were too attached to that, then the company might not be able to grow the way that it has, because somebody has to lead the vision. Like, there's a reason that I don't cut hair anymore in our business, and Lee doesn't cut hair anymore in our business either. Like, we're doing a class in the next couple of weeks, but that's kind of it. Like, it's a pop-up thing that was by popular demand, and it's like, all right, let's do a class for you guys and a few close people. But when you say yes to one thing, you say no to something else. That's one of the big lessons that I've learned as well. It's like an identity shift. So like, as you progress, and I'm sure you can relate to this, but as I've progressed through business, it's like I went from being the barber in Ireland to then going to Australia, being the busy barber in the barbershop, and then being presented with options. It's like, do I want to own a barbershop? Do I want to do the education company? I chose the education company, built that, different identity again, having to let go of past versions of myself. They're still there, like the principles and the values are all still there. But there's just certain things, like, that graph, the emoji that goes up, and then there's like the piece in the middle that goes down, and then it goes up again. That piece in the middle that goes down is the most important piece. Like, we were talking about it outside. It's like, Charlie said it there, you're never going to go from a fully booked stylist to a session stylist who travels around the world. There's a cost of transition. And for years, like, I'm talking years, Lee and I paid ourselves about $500 Australian a week while we were building the business as well, which is about £250 a week,
For a while, it was nothing.
And yeah, when we were in the barbershop, it was nothing while we were building the academy. So there's a cost to everything, but it's worth it long term, because people will come across us today and think, I can do it in 10 minutes. No, you can do it a lot faster, because there's a lot of things that we can share with you that you don't have to go through that we did. But I wouldn't avoid not going through them either, because there's lots of lessons in them for you to be able to hold it when you do become that person,
Yeah. And it's a sign of a great company rooted in purpose as well. Like, Charlie's company is a great example of this. Not married to the mechanism. Imagine if he was married to the mechanism. I have to be seen as the guy who does all the hair education. It's like, well, that's going to stunt the whole thing. Remember I said to you guys this morning, like, your dream, like, for the dream to live is the most important thing. But how that gets done, well, that might have to move and change. And if we're too married to a mechanism, that could hold us back in life. So that's why, like, we always take you guys through that journey of, like, really getting to the deeper purpose and mission of what it is you're actually doing here.
It's really letting go of any ego. For me, you know, transitioning from working in the salon to being an educator, you have to let go of being that busy hairstylist and let go of clients. You have to. Yeah, there's no way around it. And then again, from working from someone else to owning your own business, you know, you have to let go of understanding you're going to have more responsibilities, more pressure, everything that comes with having your own business, and growth is all on you. And then having your own business and then bringing team members in that are going to start doing jobs that you were doing, you have to let go of that to then have more different roles as well. So it's just like Owen was saying, you know, it's just like slowly transitioning yourself from one person to another to someone completely who you may not even recognize in the future, but you're a much better version of yourself than you were back then to become something else.
And this is the big difference. You guys would have heard us speak about this, the difference between virtue and passion, right? Passion is work of the ego. Virtue is work of the soul. Okay, so your ego's work will always be there. You hear it in the barbering industry everywhere. So we could talk about this. We're not cutting too much hair anymore, but passion drive you. Passion is, say, yeah, but be careful, because passion is the work of the ego. Virtue is the work of the soul. The work of the ego is fleeting. The work of the soul lasts forever. So that's what we said when we're getting to purpose, we're getting to mission. It's the work of the soul. It's the virtue of the company is the most important thing. Let passion do the work. Yeah, let it drive the virtue, but don't get too tied to the passion, because that can also hold you back. It's fleeting, right? Those moments of passion are very fleeting, and that's the work of the ego. But when we can really sink into the work of the soul, which is virtue, let virtue drive you over passion. Because we're probably passionate about loads of different things. And passion will change throughout your life, you know? And that's where that not too married to the mechanism comes in. It's like as long as the dream and the virtue gets to live, that's the most important thing. And that will allow you to keep adapting, especially in times like this. Like I said, the next 3 to 5 years, the digital first renaissance, it's coming. It's coming whether we like it or not. And if we resist it, we might suffer. And that's going to be huge. But as long as our virtue can pull us through, I think it would be okay.
Yeah, I see like reputation and brand being like the most important thing that we can ever protect. You know, like ever. Like that's the thing. Like that is solid for everybody here and is always going to be. So like what Charlie was saying, took 2 years before bringing anybody in, and even then it wasn't immediately another educator. It was someone to help you with content, right? It's the brand and the reputation is what's going to last the longest, you know, in my opinion. And we're the same, right? Like we've people, like business coaches give us advice about how to run our business. Yeah, just get a load of setters and put them in the DMs and like get people sending 50 DMs a day, like reaching out to your following. It's like, yeah, but that following, like they're people that we've nurtured relationships with over the years. They trust us. And like, we don't want them to not trust us. And it's being okay in the delay, whatever the delay takes, like that guy was saying about earlier. He'll get to 10 million one day, like, but not burning his world down around him, because I see that happening a little bit right now in barbering particularly. The strategies that people are using to just, let's get the cash now, is destroying their brand, like destroying their brand, because I never hear, there's somebody I'm thinking of, but it's like I never hear people say great things about that approach. So keeping it virtuous and like purposeful and protecting the brand at all costs, I think is like a massive thing. And I don't know if you've ever heard us say this, Charlie, as well. This is something I thought about a minute ago. But as we like level up and our identity shifts and changes like throughout time, one thing we say to the guys all the time in the coaching group is don't identify too much as a barber, or like don't identify as a barber. Like, and it's not that it's a bad thing or anything like that. It's just you might shut down other opportunities and ideas for other things that you love in your life. So being a barber is something that you do, but like if I held on to the identity of a barber too much, I wouldn't have done the education thing. I wouldn't now be doing the mentorship or coaching thing. It's like it's it's something that you can do. So when people ask me these days, are you a barber? I just say, well, I can barber. It's something I can do. It's just one of many skills that I have, and it's the same for everybody here. I think we're all capable of a lot more, and you can take it whatever, you can do whatever you want. Like what we were saying earlier, it's all made up, right? Like we can just make up stuff that we want to do and go and find people who can help us do it. It's kind of like that, you know?
Yeah.
I think that that kind of identity thinking, like it's a bit industrial thinking. You know, I think we've gone past those days where the world trained us just to be one thing, and that's what we do forever. You know, I heard Ty Lopez say it years ago. You know, the future belongs to those who are multi-skilled. He was raving on about it, like 2015 era. Like the future belongs to those who are multi-skilled, and this is something that I drill into most barbers that I meet. Is like try to think about life like everything is for you. It doesn't mean that you will get everything or do everything, but when it comes to things like marketing or sales or content creation or making scripts or courses, whatever, believe that everything is for you. Because like say, if you identify with a barber, a lot of them think, oh, I don't need to market, I'm not a marketer. No, I don't need to do sales. I'm not in sales, no. But that's going to limit them moving forward in the digital future, right? Or just what they can even do in life. So yeah, I think maybe that individual kind of identity thinking is gone. It was definitely gone from the industrial world. And now we're moving into a completely different world. And I think that belief that everything is for you is really powerful in terms of skills, you know, skill stacking. So
even if you break it down in a really simple format of just thinking about working in a salon or a shop now, forget all the other stuff that you can do and expand into as a hairstylist. But even if you're just talking about cutting hair, when I first started cutting hair in the salon, when I trained in the salon, you had specialists. You had people who did cutting, and you had people who did color, okay, for example, or men's specialists. Okay, we still have those. But after about 5 or 6 years, what I realized was that actually more and more people were becoming multi people. So they were doing color and cutting on all their clients, yeah, rather than specializing and being trained just in cutting or just in coloring. Because when I trained to be a cutter, a hair cutter in women's hair cutting. But then 5, 6 years later, everyone was doing coloring and cutting because you could make more money and juggle your clients better and all that. And now we're seeing that whole transition come in with, you'd be much better off if you could cut women's and men's hair well, not just a barber or not just a woman's hairdresser predominantly. So again, this is what we focused our company on, where we teach courses that teach men's and women's cutting in the same course. It's not specialized in men's or specialized in women's, where your more traditional kind of education has always been placed in. So again, we've tried to like think ahead of time and think ahead of what people are doing and how the world is changing around us and make that move quicker than everyone else. Because realistically, cutting hair is cutting hair. I always say this to everyone, you know, we use the same techniques, the same shapes. It's just how you apply them, which makes it a little bit more feminine, a little bit more masculine in how you style it. Okay, it's very simple. I guarantee every single person in this room right now could cut men's and women's hair, but it's your belief system that tells you that you can't because you haven't done it before. But you can. And I think if you want to be focused on being a very good hairstylist or even getting into education, cutting both men's and women's hair is going to be very, very necessary, because men's specialists and people like that are just going to be like everyone else, you know?
Yeah, I love that. You know, if we future pace a little bit, let's say 5 years. I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was in Ireland. One of the young guys was like, "What should I do? Should I go traveling or should I open up a barbershop?" I was like, "You go traveling or start a salon?" I was like, maybe let the barbershop idea go, because we're at like what I call a critical mass right now with barbers. Like there's loads of them, right? It's not a unique thing anymore. But I think what Charlie was leaning towards there, and which I also believe, because I come from a salon background, I've seen the whole barber thing come in, and now I'm seeing it starting to come out the other side again. I think if anyone's thinking about getting into that space right now, think about having a hybrid salon in the future. Have men's and women's. Or like, you can leave the word, people are using that word hybrid now, I just think it's a salon. But have a place which really facilitates men's and women's hair. And even erase that. We cut hair. this is just a cool place to get really high quality hair.
And you're seeing that coming in now. You're seeing in cool
That's
spots
where I think
in
it's
London
gonna go.
and Amsterdam and these cool cities. You're seeing more just haircutting places or hair spaces, which accommodates for everything.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the way the world is moving, you know.
Because 10 years ago, like the bespoke barbershop, that was, whoa, cool, new, different.
Yeah.
But it's not
the modern men's styling.
But it's not anymore. It's just there's nothing new, different about it. It's like you can paint the walls white, grey, whatever. It's nothing different about it anymore. So yeah, future pacing that and seeing what's coming, I think that's it's really important to think about.
And also exciting as a creative, as an artist, you know.
Yeah.
The last thing we want to be doing, whatever we're doing, is the same thing over and over again for 30 years. Because that becomes really boring.
Eventually gets boring.
If you can elevate yourself in your skills, and we're just talking about hair now, then you need to be exploring and bettering ourselves in as much as possible, you know. So
It increases your earning capacity.
Yeah.
And that earning capacity is also increasing your opportunity capacity. So like the more multi-skilled you are, the more flexibility you have. Should we like do a bit more Q&A? Like ask, you guys have more questions for Charlie?
That'd be cool. Sounds good.
With like saying the online education, where would you say is best to like start and get like ball rising for business to transform into that online?
as in to like launch something online.
Yeah. So it's like, where should you sort of start before funds into like launch it?
I would say have an active audience that want to watch you learning, whether that's in person or just through your social media networks. If the bigger audience you have, the more likely people are gonna the more conversions you'll potentially have. You know, if not many people are watching your content or asking for education, then and you go and spend $5,000 on setting up an online academy, that doesn't mean just because you spend that money and you see the value in what you're putting out, that doesn't mean anyone else will. So I think actually the engagement in the audience needs to be there first before you even think about setting up an online academy. I mean, there's a lot of logistics behind actually doing it itself, whether you're going to do your in-house filming and recording and editing, or you're going to outsource that to someone else. Like, that's a conversation and something you should worry about later down the line. Or if you're in that position now, then obviously those are the things that you need to start thinking about, because there are lots of different ways that you can do it. We've always done ours in-house because we've had the skills and ability to be able to do that, but not everyone does have the time and ability to be able to do that or can do that. You know, it's a whole other skill set that you either need to learn yourself or outsource. So,
off the back of that question, what if you had your time again, what would you have changed about your business, or how would you have done it differently?
From the start of when I launched my business, or
yeah, that's probably the most relevant one. Maybe it's like from the start of. I mean, obviously your circumstance around COVID, you couldn't have changed much in the beginning, but from the start point up until now, is there anything you've done in what has done this to?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes I've made and learned from is hiring really expensive marketing companies who I thought would get me to where I want to be, rather than it was never them at all. It was always me and the brand that were always going to get us to where we want to be. Yeah. I think it's very easy to be like, oh, like marketing companies. I've had some times with these. It's a bit of a raw subject. Yeah, let's just say I've spent probably over $100,000 on marketing companies over the last 2 years, 3 years, whatever you want to say. You know, multiple different ones, different because they all have different retainers, monthly retainers. And they actually do very minimal for your company behind the scenes, but they make out like they're doing a lot for you anyway.
It's a thing in the coaching world too. Like they fleece people.
And I think they do. And I think they're going to be extinct one day because of AI and technology and stuff anyway, because probably pretty soon. So I'm kind of happy about that. So
delighted.
But actually, throw all out of the window. The person or the people that are going to get you to where you want to be is that person that you're looking at in the mirror, and the work that you put in, and potentially your team and the people around you as well, obviously, are going to contribute to that. That's what's important. And yes, you can sometimes hire and outsource people to get you to another level. Of course, I'm not saying you need to do everything. That's silly. But realistically, what I'm trying to say is there are points through building the brand where I've wanted to quit many times. I've wanted to just sell it or leave it all behind and go and do something else, run away, whatever it is that I'm doing.
Go to farm.
Yeah, multiple times where I wanted to quit, and I haven't. And I've made changes, and I've realised what's weighing me down, or what's not important, or what am I spending all this money on, and what's not moving me up a notch to the next level. And for the most part, I would say that the money and stuff that I've invested into other people in terms of marketing companies mainly has been a huge waste of time and money and resources, because they haven't got me anywhere. It's always been me and my team who have done the heavy lifting. So yeah,
Lovely.
but honestly, everything else, the journey, everything we've done, I wouldn't change a thing.
Perfect.
I wouldn't change a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I look at, like, if I was to answer a similar question, I look at our journey in our business, and like all of the perceived shit things that have happened, wouldn't change them for the world, even up to recent times, right? Like, it's like, yeah, it's all just a lesson so that I can become a better version of myself, build a better business, build a better life. And I see this now with Hannah as well. Poor Hannah, she gets slated whenever we do these sessions. I learn a lot through observation of like her business journey as well. And recently she hired a marketing agency to do her content for her as well. And it was going for 3 months and she made no sales, like, from that content. And then, the message that I've been trying to weave through for her in that time is there's just certain things in the modern day that I don't personally believe can be outsourced. And with the rise of AI and the marketing agencies and all of that, I think people's bullshit radar has gone through the roof, and like, people know when it's not you versus when it is you. And I think the founder's voice of a business and a company leading the marketing and like being the front-facing person is so important. Like, and I think Hannah was trying to like get somebody to do it for her because she didn't want to do it, but it didn't work. So it's about following what works. It's like, and that's what I've been saying to her this week, is like, you just got to do what works. And like, when you make a video, when you're in the bathroom and you don't have all of the fancy polished stuff going on, it works. So why don't you try and do that? She did it. 2 sales this week.
Authenticity.
You can pay me now, Hannah. Thanks. So retainer, the monthly retainer. I'm setting it up.
Murphy's marketing company.
Oh man, but there's investments that you make as well, right? And something like that is a very logical investment. You look at it from the outside and you think, yeah, that's going to do what it's supposed to do. And we were very close to doing it with somebody as well. Very, very close. And we pulled out right before it because it just didn't feel right. And Charlie mentioned it earlier, it's the feeling sometimes. It's like, it just doesn't feel right. And I'm okay with the time horizon. I've been saying it a lot lately, but you'll probably love this, Charlie. Well, I hope you will anyway. But let's see who's around in 10 years. Let's see what's going on in 10 years from now. Time will always tell, Let's see who's doing what in 10 years, whose reputation is still good, who is doing good shit in 10 years.
I think a company that I always lean back on when talking about stuff like this is an obvious one for most. It's actually Sassoon, not just because of the way that they cut hair, but the message that the brand delivers. Like, they've been around since the 60s, I think it is now, and they're still known as one of the premium education companies in the world and brands in the world in the hair industry. Why? Because their core message and belief and the way that they do things and the way that they has always stayed the same.
God.
And the guy that started the company isn't even around anymore, and it's still as strong as ever. See what I mean? It's what they've built there, and the message that they deliver is why it's so successful.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
And it's the personal brand that is such an important thing going into this digital first world and AI, and like, what is going to be the thing that differentiates you from everybody else is who you actually are. And like, people don't necessarily follow Tesla, they follow Elon Musk. They don't necessarily follow like the brand as such, they follow the person behind the brand. And I was saying to Hannah, like my partner, I'm like, Hannah, like you need to be doing this yourself. Like your opinions matter, like your voice matters, and what people are going to connect with is the realness of the content that you make.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's worth putting that effort in. Like not all outsourcing is good outsourcing. Like that's the way, we spoke about it with the guys in the mentorship recently, maybe in one of the previous projects. But this like obsession with passivity in the modern day world where people are just wanting passive income and like to get rich through crypto and like not do fucking anything and like be really rich is the exact reason why people won't be rich. You know, it's like you still gotta do stuff. You know, you can't just avoid like some of the things that you gotta do. But if there's nothing, if we do absolutely nothing else on a day-to-day basis to grow the business or push our mission forward, we post on social media, we do marketing. And we have hundreds, if not thousands, of posts that are kind of just there on our phones, ready to go at any given moment.
Yeah.
That would be my piece of advice for anyone wondering what to focus on is like learn something about marketing. Like that was the beginning of my journey of like just thinking that everything is for me. Because as a barber, like I was posting on Instagram or whatever just because everybody else did and that was the thing everybody did. But then really starting to understand marketing, like what is it? And one of my favorite people, Seth Godin, and I know Pat, you've read This Is Marketing, and fantastic book, big bright orange book. This Is Marketing, it's called, by Seth Godin. And one of the core messages, like these guys were chatting about there, is he's got this line. He said, great marketing makes people think, there's people like me doing things like this. There's people like me doing things like this. People like us do things like this. He said that's really the core of great marketing, and that we've never had a better chance ever to do that. We get to do it every day by showing people the real us. And something I said at the Gold Coast show actually was like, the aim is to give people someone and something to believe in, and that someone is you. But on the journey of that might reveal a big personal development journey, is trusting that people will want to spend money with the real authentic you. And that's why you see people in this world creating characters in their life that they think will get the love that they're too afraid to try and get, because they think they're flawed or whatever reason. That might send you on a big personal development journey, but it's probably could be one of the best things you ever do, is get to the point where you really trust that and believe that people will buy from the real authentic you. Then you can start to reveal the personal brand. Then you can really start to drive up those 1,000 raving fans that think, there's someone like me who does stuff like this. There's someone like me who cuts hair. I'm going to go buy from that person. And that's the trust factor in revealing the person and the culture behind the brand. That's going to be massive moving forward.
I think one of the most, touching on that actually, one of the most prevalent things that I've seen over the years is when I meet students and they're like, I went on this guy's course or this company's course, and I didn't really know what to expect, but they were completely different to what I thought it was going to be, or that person was very different. On social media they're this kind of character they've created, or they act a certain way, and then in real life they're nothing like that person actually is. And it actually really disappoints people. I've seen it firsthand many times. People come up to me saying it, and it's really crazy, isn't it? Like people really do want to believe that the people that they see on the screen is who they are, right?
Yep.
And the best way to do that is truly by being authentic from the start.
Yeah.
And not pretending to be someone or something else that you're not. Because eventually you'll get found out.
Time will always tell. It's exhausting too. It's fucking.
That's what I was going to say. Eventually, it'll burn you out. Like Gary Vee said it. I got it from Gary Vee. He said that's one of the most dangerous things you can do in your life is create a character of yourself in your own life. He said because 2 reasons. He was like, if that character starts to get love, there's a dissonance then because it's the character getting love, not you. And he said, what if it gets lots of love and then gets no love? It's like double whammy, because then you didn't get love and now the character's not getting love. And he says, secondly, if it does get love, but all of a sudden you have this identity shift or you think, I don't really want to do that kind of thing anymore, you then got to keep it up. And that's exhausting. And that's what we call a fast-tracked identity crisis. So I really resonate with that. And that's why you'll hear me, like, I'm the same on Instagram as I am in real life. Is it slower growth? Yes. Do I care? No. Because I just want to be who I am. And you guys have heard me speak about this all the time. I'm big into conscious choice. If you can create a conscious choice model in your life, this is me consciously choosing every moment in my life. I don't regret a single bit of it. You know, someone asked us at the mastermind last week. It was a dark question, but they were like, if you were going to die tomorrow, would you be all right with it? I just thought for a second. I was like, yeah. Like, I'm not done. No, do I want to go tomorrow? Hell no. Am I done? Absolutely not. But have I had a red hot crack, and have I chosen most of my moments? Absolutely. I'm cool with that.
I'd say the same. I'd be like, yeah,
It's just me.
that's my time. That's my time.
I'm cool with it. Yeah.
We've had a few near-death experiences lately. One was pulling up to the hotel here. About 20 quad bikes and scramblers went past us, and we thought, all right,
Quad bikes and shit, like wheelies and stuff past us.
we're done for. We've been in a few planes that have had to turn around because something happened, and Hannah was all fucking panicked, and she's like, how are you not freaking out? I'm like, if it's my time, it's my time.
You said.
Was it you that said it last week at the other mastermind? Like, you know, there can be this thing where we want to copy these other people or personal brands or brands, whatever. You know, I want to do what they're doing. It's like, okay, if you copy what they're putting out online, you also copy their life, and that's what you've got to be really careful of. And the big litmus test is, are they okay in their life? Because what you'll find, what Charlie alluded to, most people aren't even okay. What they're putting out online isn't even working for them. It's easy to make it look good, but most of them aren't that happy behind the scenes. They're not making that much money. They don't feel that fulfilled. You know, we traveled the world last year speaking to all the greats, the best of the best. And I don't know if we met anyone who was truly from the heart, like, this is great, except from Charlie.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, seriously, man. Like, no one, not anyone that we met was, like, delighted, you know?
Really?
No.
Interesting.
No. It's like... No,
That's great.
No, what the big litmus test in it is this as well, is when you have a conversation like this and the cameras are rolling, and you say, yeah, you can just do what you want with the content, because it's always you, right? There's like, we've done podcasts with people and they're like, oh no, please don't put it out.
don't post it.
You know? And it's like, oh, okay, well, why is that?
That's crazy.
Because you don't want people to see the character. Because somebody will call you a fucking bluffer. Like, a lot of people can chat shit in real life when there's no cameras rolling, or like I was saying earlier, when you start going into the long form stuff, there's nowhere to hide. It's like, it forces you to be like who you actually are. And that's okay. Who you actually are is totally okay. If anything, like, that's one of my kind of coaching styles at the moment that I'm consciously trying to do, is to show people that it's okay to be themselves in all moments. You know, Artie's great at that as well. If it means pulling down my pants at the start of the mastermind, that's okay. That happened, by the way.
It's a real thing.
Anyway, any other questions?
I've got a few actually. What would you say would be your number one value to guide you when leading the team?
My number one value, leading a team in what sense?
Just for your business?
For my business, for leading my team. I would strongly suggest really knowing who's on your team and what they're capable of and what their strengths and their weaknesses are. For example, we do quite regular collection shoots where we spend a day. I lock everyone in a studio. We have models coming in. We do all the recording and videoing, and we do a photo shoot. And it's quite an intense day. It's from 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning until about 6 o'clock. Like, solid in a studio. Pretty full on stuff. It's pretty gnarly. I'm exhausted after it, to be honest with you. And it's my job to allocate. It's my job to organise everything. So I organise everything from the models to the photographer to everything that comes in on the day. But then I have to allocate the right models to the right team members for the right reasons, who are going to produce the best work, which represents the brand. So when you have a young, fresh team or a team that haven't worked together that regularly or for that long, it's quite difficult to do that because you don't quite know everyone's strengths or weaknesses and things like that. But now we've worked together for a while, and we've done a couple of collection shoots and things like that together. It's becoming more prevalent and easier for me to understand what they're capable of and how I can allocate the models to each people, for example. So I think as any leader or whatever you want to class yourself as a manager, where you have a role over a group of people, it's really important to understand each and every character on a personal level, what they're capable of, what their insecurities may be, lots of little things like that. You know, it's I think that's really important to understand. Yeah.
Can I add something to that? This is awesome as well, Charlie. You might like this, but there's
Hope you do.
there's a lady we had at the mastermind in the Gold Coast called Melissa Maskey, and she kind of works and specializes with the Enneagram, which is like the personality types. And you do like this long questionnaire, and you get your personality types, and it's like numbered 1 to 9, and it kind of shows you like what type of personality or ego personality that you might have. And we've done it in our business. Lee and I have done it with each other, so we understand each other from like a foundational level of like what we're motivated by, what we're kind of like as humans. Because I think there's an assumption sometimes that everyone should be like me. I've walked around for years of my life thinking, why are they not thinking about it the way I think about it? But then I realized, there's actually 9 different kind of ego personality types, and people fall into different categories based on the experiences that they've had in life up to this point. So when we did that, not only last week or a couple of weeks ago with the guys in the Gold Coast, there was people there with their team members, and they all got to know and understand each other a little bit more. And when that understanding is there of like, you know, for example, why is Pat behaving the way he's behaving? Or why is Lee behaving the way he's behaving? It's like I now have a deeper understanding of the fundamental kind of core reason as to why. So I don't take anything personally. I just understand that that's just the way he is, and that's okay. So I think if you can apply that to a team, it's incredible. So like the people that we have hired on our team now, we know what their numbers are. So there's Lee, there's me, Thor, and Damo. We know Thor and Damo's numbers. So then we go to ChatGPT and we say, this is my number, this is Lee's, this is Damo's, this is Thor's. How can we best work together as a team based on everything that you know about the Enneagram? And it gives us like very, very specific and accurate information as to like who should be doing what in the business and who shouldn't be doing things and like it's very, very accurate. So that could be something that could be a cool thing to do with the team. I can give you Mal's contact if you want. She's great.
The thing I love about the Enneagram system as well is it gives you like a stress scale. So everybody within their number has like a healthy expression and an unhealthy expression, like a kind of calm expression and a stressed expression. And that's really cool because the question always comes up with Mal, because we've been in our classes for years now. How many times have we done it? The Enneagram thing, like 4 times maybe, but we've known about the work for years. And the question, every class I've been in with her, the question says, are there any numbers that repel or attract in relationships? And she says, good, funny you ask. Any number in its healthiest state can work with the other number. Why? Because they're calm, they're in their balanced state, and they understand and have compassion and empathy and gratitude for all the other numbers, right? They understand that it takes all of them. But when they're stressed, that's when we start to get, things happening and people, that one's annoying me, and that one's annoying me, and that one's annoying me. So that's the thing I love about it the most, is especially as a leader of a team, you can really pick up on, Dave's showing this. He's a number 5. Oh shit, he's like way down the stress scale. We've got to do something to bring him back up to a healthy place again.
Like I'll notice when Lee's not in the best place, and I'll just leave him. I just won't say anything or ask much of him for like a few days, and then he'll smile again. And it's like, he's back. Okay, now we can talk. But that's super useful. It's super useful stuff to know, because like what Charlie said, that's probably one of the main things I would say as well. It's getting to know who these people are, what motivates them, what drives them,
Yes.
what their strengths are, what they don't like, what they do like, what their values are, and just working as best as you can with that.
Have you done it with Hannah?
Yeah.
She's still taking his shit on this.
We've figured out what Hannah's number is, and it's actually hilarious because some of her behaviours that used to stress me out don't anymore. I just kind of laugh at them because she's like a number 6, right? And the number 6 always thinks that there's like wolves running after her. Like her kind of core fundamental need is the seeking of security. So anytime she doesn't feel like secure, even in the smallest of times, like it would have stressed me out in the past. I'm like, fucking hell, there's nothing to worry about. Like, but it's coming from the first 7 years of her childhood, you know. So it's like she doesn't feel secure. But now I just kind of laugh at it. Like she's, you know, I just kind of get a bit of a giggle out of when she's getting stressed about these things. I'm like, here's the number 6 coming out, and then it helps her to see it as well. It's like, oh yeah, it's not really much of a problem. It's just stuff that's coming up. Powerful. There's a book. The book is there with the Enneagram personality types if anyone wants to have a skim through it.
What would you say made you want to move on from your previous company that was their catalyst? You mentioned burnout before.
Yeah.
I've experienced burnout. And I want to create a space where I'm the opposite of that for my team.
Right.
Whether they want to stay and grow within that or help them move on to other things, it's up to them. But yeah, it's not a nice place to be. So, was there, what would you say made you want to move on from where you were?
Yeah, certainly. Burnout wasn't the reason. Burnout was more of it was more because of me personally not being able to say no to work and travel. Probably an ego problem that I had at the time where I wanted to be seen to be doing stuff all the time. And I thought it was important for me at that stage of my growth. But it wasn't the reason why I left. The reason why I left is because of fulfillment. I came to a point where I was feeling very unfulfilled for a period. I wasn't valued in the right way. And I felt like my growth had been stunted. So, you know, it wasn't a quick decision that I made after like a week of feeling like that. It was like a 6-month period. You know, I don't feel like you should ever react on emotions in life because a lot of the time you're just reacting when you're acting on emotions, and a lot of the time you regret those decisions. So it's something that you should sit on for a while, really think about, look at your options, and then make that decision when you're in a calm place, for sure. So I got to a point where it had been about a 6-month period. It was actually when I was in Australia, which we were talking about earlier, 2019. It'd been about November time, I think it was. And it was pretty much the final nail in the coffin for me when I was out there. You know, again, I don't like to mention names and brands and people because that's not important or it's not relevant for who I am now. But I was doing a huge tour out in Australia for weeks on end, away from my partner, my family, and I wasn't getting enough back in return in many different areas. You know, definitely not just financially, but financially was part of it too. And I was just like, why am I doing this? Am I happy? Am I being fulfilled anymore? What will it look like if I made a change? And the change looked like a much better prospect for me at that moment in my career. You know, I had devoted everything and worked very hard for that previous company. And I was proud of what I achieved there, but it was definitely the right time for me because I knew from in here that it was the right time for me. And I sat on it for 6 months to a year before I made a decision. And when I made the decision, it was like this huge weight off my shoulders, just being released straight away. And it was great. It was exciting. Yeah, so it was more fulfillment on a daily basis of the work that I was doing in and out, day in, day out.
So I guess off the back of that, do you have any systems in place for your company and your team members so it never gets to that stage? Because like, if you were feeling that sense of fulfillment, then you're going to have that feeling, right? It's just going to grow up and grow and grow. And them not to catch that, that's bad on their part, right?
Yeah, so for me, the reason why I felt unfulfilled a lot was because of the type of work that I was doing, i.e. teaching the same course over and over again. It's the same. It's very relatable to when you're working in a shop. You're doing the same haircuts over and over again. It can become quite mundane and a little bit boring. Yeah, you can try new haircuts and new techniques and have a different clipper, but technically, you're going to be doing the same thing over and over again unless you change something in what you're doing. You know, there's that saying, isn't there, of if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, but expect a different result, then that's like insanity or something. I don't know how to say it. It's that, but it's insanity. So it's like, how can you expect to have a different outcome if you're still doing the same thing over and over again? And you can relate to that in cutting hair as well, right? But you can also relate to that in teaching as well. When you're teaching the same things, the same techniques, the same courses, it becomes a little bit boring, personally, for me, you know. I'm always after progression and development and growth. So if I'm not able to do that in a position or a company that I'm working for, then I'm going to have to go and make that happen for myself. You know what I mean? Like, you have to find that. Yeah, there has to be a tipping point for you of like making a change. It's like, do I continue this and feel unfulfilled or unhappy, or do I make a change and take a risk? You know, risks are important to take when they're calculated. You have to take risks in life. You have to. You know, if we all stayed safe, then I wouldn't be sitting here right now, and these guys wouldn't be sitting here right now either in front of you doing this class, and you guys wouldn't be sitting here either. You know, we all take risks, you know, whether that's financial or whatever that is. But it's really, really important. Really, really important.
I think that beautifully backs up the stats that I think I shared with the group back along. So I did a bit of research on why people quit their jobs in the modern day, and number one was lack of future growth. That's what a lot of barbershops owners need to understand, is you can only expect to keep people for so long if you do not show them future growth. If there's nowhere for them to go, they're going to go somewhere else, or they're going to do something else. Number two was autonomy. And Charlie just spoke to both of those. No autonomy to make his own decisions and lack of future growth. Boom, see you later, I'm off. Double whammy. Number three was money. So money is further down the track than autonomy and future growth. So super important for people with teams, to give people that. You know, you've still got to uphold a standard. It's still got to be a leader, but give some autonomy and show them future growth. You know, we always speak about the ladder. You've almost got to be like 2-3 steps up the ladder so that they can see what's on the next rungs as they're climbing up. Yeah.
Going back to the question, because I haven't fully answered it just yet, was how did I do something different, right? How am I not being unfulfilled again, right? The way that we structured the company from the start was that every single bit of education that we did was very unique. So we never actually released a set course that you could come and do. Everything would be completely individual. Yeah. So we focused it a lot on one-to-one education, which I felt like was a huge niche that was missing in the industry back then. Yeah, again, I wanted to tap into things that people weren't really focusing on. And one-to-one is huge now. A lot of people do one-to-one. You see it everywhere. 5 years ago, at a large company, barely anyone was doing one-to-one. It was a much higher ticketed price. You could go on a course for £250, £300 a day. A one-to-one I was charging £700-800 for back then for one person. But I was busier on one-to-one than if I was to do ticketed courses, because people wanted to spend more money and have more value on that day of education. And guess what? They got it. Yeah. Doing a day of one-to-one education for 3 times the amount of doing a day course of 10 other students, you'll get 10 times as much out of it. So I was looking for the people that wanted the most value, but were willing to pay the most amount of money as well. So I focused a lot of my education on one-to-one. And guess what? Every single student that came through the door for one-to-one wants to do something different. So every single time I'm doing education, I'm able to teach different things and have fun with it and design a day course focused on maybe in the morning some long hair, maybe at lunchtime some social media, maybe in the afternoon some teaching skills. Do you know what I mean? It's great. You can't do a group class like that because everyone wants different things out of the day. So that was how I started off the company, where I was able to be really flexible, do lots of different things, and really kind of like nichely kind of almost like pick my students as much as they picked me as an education provider. So that's where I was able to be doing something different. And then obviously getting the team involved after a certain amount of years. Everyone has been different strengths. We can focus on different courses, on doing different things, and releasing loads of different types of courses. Like every couple of months I would create, like Owen was saying earlier, like this is here because we thought of doing it. Like I was creating courses in my head of just being like, right, what course do I want to do in 3 months' time? And I created random courses called the Blueprint course and different things, 2-day courses, 3-day courses, just focused on different things rather than your basic fundamental layering class or fading class, which, don't get me wrong, like there is a need for those and they will still sell. Fundamentals are important, but I was at a point where I wanted my education company to be different and exciting and approaching education differently and mixing it up, rather than just generic courses. So that's the direction I wanted to go in and do. Yeah.
Andy?
Curated.
Yeah.
Proof in the pudding.
Curated. With brand comes power, huh? I was trying to think of like the Peter Parker uncle. What's his name? Is it uncle? Yeah. What about the uncle? Was it?
Is it not? Uncle Ben.
Was it Uncle Ben? Yeah.
Uncle Ben tries.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, that's just something you are.
Don't know what relevance that had, but here we are. We made it up. We put it on. You can say what we want. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, you said that you sometimes want to quit. How would you get yourself out of that mindset to get the clarity to go to the next step? Because when you're in that mindset, it's quite hard to see anything break it. You fidget, and you get yourself about that, which isn't great.
Yeah. I think the only person that's going to get you out of that is yourself again. How much determination you actually have in life, To really succeed in life, you have to be a fighter. That's what separates the winners from the losers. The people who dig in when the times are hard at the end of the day. And like I've said many times, I've wanted to quit many times throughout my career for different reasons, but I've always led back into continuing on the path that I'm on, and I've always come out better from it. And I think if you listen to lots of different people in lots of different industries or sports or whatever, every single one of these people that you deem to be successful will have those moments where they've wanted to quit, or where they've been told that they can't do it anymore, or told by other people that it's not possible, And I think you need to be accountable for yourself. No one's ever told me I can't do it, apart from myself, or times have been hard, where it's hard to see ways out of it. And the only person that's got me through that generally has been my self-belief. Because without self-belief, nothing is going to be possible.
All right, one last question. We'll go one more. Make it a good one.
Charlie, if you were in this group today and you had the opportunity to ask yourself a question, what would be the best question you could ask yourself, or what is the best question you could answer?
That's a fucking great question. Why don't people ask me that? Fuck.
You can answer it.
You can do it first if you want. It gives me time to think about it.
All right.
That is one to think about, though.
It is, yeah. It's not something that's on the tip of my tongue to say, because I don't often ask myself many questions, I guess. What is the purpose of all of this? What's the purpose of the dream that I'm trying to build, I guess, is probably the question. It's the most important question that you should ask yourself, right? Every single day. The purpose behind what you're doing is the most important thing, because if there's no purpose behind it or no real reason behind why you're doing it, then most likely it probably won't ever succeed. So, yeah, what is the purpose of what I'm doing is the question that I would ask myself.
And what's the answer?
I guess the easy answer and the most obvious one would probably be for a good life for my family. Again, whatever that means for you would be different to someone else. Whatever you define good life doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be a millionaire and have millions in the bank. It just means having the time and flexibility and options to choose what you want to do with your life, I think, is probably successful in my eyes. spending the most amount of time with your children when they're young, and being there for them is probably the most important thing and my purpose right now. And that looks different in different ways, for different people. Some people may see that as owning a home and sending their kids to a good school and having a good education, and that's successful to them. You can't argue that. And for some people, that's having no home and traveling the world and experiencing things in life and making memories, So two completely opposite ends of the scale and very attractable to two different types of people. And I think that's, again, that crossroads that I'm at right now in my life with my family. We're not sure exactly what it is that we want in life and what our purpose is. But all I know is that I'm in a position to be able to make that decision and that choice, which I think is a beautiful thing.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very good.
That was great.
Great question.
Fantastic. Thanks, Charlie.
No worries. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for the questions.
Any last words?
No.
Anyone want to say anything? Any last words?
It's fine.
Is everyone ready for a coffee break?
I'll wrap up
You have
myself
any
as
last
well.
words?
Yeah. Of course. I just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for having me here. What you guys are doing is amazing. What these two guys are putting together is great. It's really refreshing and great to see in the hair industry. It's great to see so many hairstylists who are interested in this side of things, outside of cutting hair. And I think that everyone's personal growth in here is only going to get better and excel. So, I hope that some of the words or experiences or lessons that I've been able to talk about today hit home a little bit, or you can resonate with, or you can use as motivation. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.